graduate teaching associate at San Francisco State University. He is primarily interested in exploring nostalgia and the function of memory, relationships between parents and children, gay identity, and the idea of safety. He's originally from Destrehan, Louisiana, and earned his BA at Loyola University New Orleans. He is so cool, you guys. So cool.
Just to give you guys some background, all through last year I was working on this novel, and I was pretty sure it was going to be my thesis, so I was really into it, and I was exploring it a lot, just this idea of family and, exploring a lot of really basic things, but then I started seeing a therapist, and my worldview changed a smidge. So I kind of had to put the novel I was working on aside because my worldview changed so radically, and I recently started working on something kind of supernatural, which is weird for me. I don't usually pursue that kind of thing. But this is what I'm working on now, and a lot of it's really fresh. I've only started in for this weekend I only had 3 pages, but you guys are going to get really fresh material. So deal with it. If you hate it, you have no taste. He was just where Seth remembered him, under the stone statue of a lion crouching next to the welcome mat. He blew dead ants off the key before he picked it up, resettling the lion neatly within the outline made by years of rain, sun, and unswept dirt on the wood floors of the porch. Seth ran his hand over his phone in his pocket, thought briefly of calling his mother, begging her to come out to the house too, so that he wouldn't have to do this alone, but thought better of it. "Joseph, I don't know what you expect us to do," Mama would say, her voice frantic. "You're the only one who can, and we made a deal." Papa would mumble something in the background, and Mama would tell him to hush his goddamn mouth, and then she'd tell Seth to call when he figured it out before hanging up. Seth straightened his spine and turned the key in the lock. The hallway inside was musty, the air stiff and full of the smell of sick, something sweet and acidic and dirty and moist, like rotting moss and grimy pennies all mixed up. Seth drew the blue gingham curtains next to the door, checked the glass, all clear, before opening the window to let the equally hot and warm but fresh air from outside cycle through. There was a frog somewhere out on the porch. Seth could hear it croaking. His bootsteps were muffled in the dust of the creaking wooden floorboards. Most everything was the same as he remembered from his childhood, the same whitewashed hall table, the same hand-carved crucifixes above every door frame, the same feelings of general anxiety at even entering the house. But someone had taken down the picture frames that once lined the walls, removed the glass-faced clock. Even the shinier ceramic knickknacks were missing. His mother had warned him that, other than the window panes, they'd removed all but one option for Seth to take care of this. All he had to do was pass the message on. Above the mantel in the living room was the antique mirror, brass framed with curling edges, glass a bit moldy in the corners, but polished before his arrival. He smoothed his hand over his phone again before taking a deep breath and stepping in front of the mirror. The glass showed not only his own reflection, smooth face crowned with dark hair swept precisely up and back, but next to him, face sallow and haggard, eyes glazed white and lined with red, was his recently deceased grandfather. "Ah, hell, they sent the queer," Granddad said, although his lips didn't move. "I don't much appreciate your tone, old man," Seth said, folding his arms. What no one seemed to understand when Seth tried to explain, ever since he was old enough to form the words, wasn't just that ghosts were intangible, but that they weren't actually present. Ghosts didn't manifest outside of their own reflections, barely moving images in mirrored light, but far more powerful than any simple illusion. Ghosts were real, even if they never found a way to stand beside you, could only stare back at you from the mirror, proof from any shining surface that you were never truly alone. He had thought it was something everyone knew and could see until he was 4, maybe 3, and Mama had been washing the dishes at the sink in their house in Metairie, and asked Seth who he was talking to. "The lady in the oven door," Seth said. The lady was wearing a sturdy brown house dress and had steely gray curls cut close to her head. "You have an imaginary friend, baby?" Mama ran a dish under the hot water. "No, she's on the oven door, Mama." Seth pointed to her in the glass. The lady frowned slightly. "She said she has something to tell you." Mama turned to look at Seth. The water still ran. "What's she saying, baby?" Seth listened. Even though the lady's lips didn't move, she spoke, and the sounds she made, he thought, were all in his ears, not in the room. "She says she knows what you and Papa did in the pantry. On the day she died, she could hear you the whole time." Seth rubbed his forearms, shivered. "She says it was a sin, and she hopes it comes back to you." Mama blinked and hit the water handle with her elbow. She crouched in front of Seth, drying her hands on a dish towel. She looked at the oven door and shook her head. "You tell her..." Mama exhaled. "Joseph, you tell her it's none of her business. You tell her it isn't kind to scare a little boy, and besides, God wouldn't like her telling you things you aren't supposed to know. And if she keeps telling you things like that, well..." Mama looked at the door again, half a foot to the left of where the woman stared into the room. "You tell her she keeps saying things like that? You tell me, and we'll figure out what to do. And don't tell anyone but me and Papa she talks to you." "Why?" Mama smoothed her still a damp hand over Seth's hair. "You're the only one who can see her and talk to her, and it's best to stay a secret. Other folks, well, they might not understand. Okay? What about the other people who are in the mirrors? Can I talk about them?" Mama's eyes widened, and her hand went still on Seth's hair. "Not them either. It's a secret." Mama stood, brushed her hands on her apron. "I have to go call Papa. You be good now, and don't you pay the lady no mind, you hear?" "So what did I do to deserve them sending you?" Granddad asked. "They know by now you can't do anything to me." Seth swallowed his anxiety. "Only a ghost," he told himself. "Only a ghost. Much like you can't do anything to me." He tapped the glass. Granddad flinched. "Don't be a little bitch," Granddad said. "Why are you here?" "Misogyny by way of impotent rage. Cute." Seth ran his finger along the mantel. "They're selling the house." He blew the dust from his fingertip at the mirror before adopting a soothing tone. "They wanted me to make absolutely sure that you knew, and that it's okay with you, and that you'll be able to move on." Granddad's white eyes continued to stare in the mirror, his face unmoving. "They know I can hear them, yeah? And I've seen them moving everything around." Seth shrugged, settled on the couch. He crossed his legs at the knees, folded his hands on top. "Regardless of what you say, I'm telling them you're passing along every platitude. Well, at least the ones that would be believable from an asshole like you. And that you understand their need to sell, and that you're moving on." "God damn, I wish I could lump a lot of you," Granddad said. "You sure it's impossible?" "Can't do a damn thing to them, old man. And just because I can see you and hear you doesn't mean I'm very good at tuning you out." Seth smiled and batted his eyelashes. Granddad's nostrils flared slightly. "Piss off, boy." Seth twirled his foot. "You are so much less horrifying now that you're done." It had been a Tuesday. He'd been rushing around his claustrophobic studio loft, straddling the border of Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen. He had flipped through his tie rack and stuffed a highly organized closet under the stairs and held up a skinny black necktie and a pink and white bow tie in front of the tall mirror on the inside door. "What do you think?" he asked. "Necktie roll," said from the mirror, white eyes staring, mouth not moving. "Don't want to blow your load so early." "I think there's distinct merit in midweek ferocity," Seth said. "But you've never steered me wrong, so..." Seth put the bow tie back on its clip and draped the necklace around his collar. bedtime went his car. Do you want me to leave the TV on? No thanks, doll, Raoul said. Some music would be good, though. Seth turned on his laptop on the coffee table, shifting it so the screen faced the open closet door. You're a peach, Raoul said. The best roommate a queen could ask for. Seth's phone vibrated in the bedroom loft. Raoul flickered out of the mirror for a second, before reappearing. Oh, honey, it's your mama. You're not gonna like this. Can I blow her off? Seth released his hand and still lose time. I'm going to be late if she keeps me long. You better answer her. She'll keep calling you if you don't, Raoul said. Seth trudged up the stairs and grabbed his phone from where it was plugged in next to his mattress. His mother was subdued in her greeting, her voice thick with tears as she told him. Seth sat on the mattress because he remembered that's what people are meant to do when they hear about death. Sit down stunned and numbly ask questions. He wasn't really stunned, though, listening through the traffic outside his window, car horns blaring and doors slamming and the constant murmur of a crowd of voices, at his mother slowly pronouncing words like hypertension, coronary, myocardial infarction. So many ways to say bad heart. Seth's only question was, you're going to make me come back, aren't you? We want you to talk to him, baby, Mama said. Get everything squared away. How about fuck no, and I hope he enjoys hell, Seth said. Language, Joseph. Show a little respect. He was a crabby old bastard, but he was your papa's daddy, Mama said. Sorry. Seth bit his lip. Is Papa, is he okay? Mama paused. He'll manage. He really wants you to come home for the funeral. Seth clicked his tongue. No, he really wants me to come home to talk to the crabby old bastard. Mama sighed, then her voice came out nasal. Seth could see her pinching the bridge of her nose, her glasses pushed up to her forehead. We thought you might be resistant, but it's very important to Aunt Sherry, at least, so we talked it over. After she spelled out the details to him, Seth pocketed his phone and hurried down the stairs. He opened the radio app on his computer, and Madonna sang about life being a mystery and everyone standing alone, as he switched out the necktie for the pink and white bow tie. Good choice, doll, Raoul said. How'd she convince you? To tell the truth, I'm only doing this because they're cutting me a check. Seth leaned forward on Granddad's couch. Papa and the other three are all taking equal portions out of their profits from the house and giving them to me. My 10% share in this, what are they having the realtor call it? Seth spread his hands in front of him like a marquee. Sunny, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 143-year-old country home with original hardwood floors set on 16 acres of scenic Barataria bayou country. Will keep me comfortable, at least until the end of the year. Seth scoffed, leaned back again, folded his arms. Sunny farmhouse. They should tear it to the ground. In Seth's head, Granddad's voice was a growl, even as his slack voice showed only the slightest scowl. Your great-great-great-grandfather built this house with his own hands, boy. The hands of newly freed slaves who would work for practically nothing built this house. But, semantics. Seth stood, stretched his arms above his head, coughed. This country air is fouling up my lungs. I'll be sure to give them all of your begrudging affection and your gruff blessing, and tell them that you're moving on. As he stood to leave, Granddad called for him to wait. Seth faced the mirror again. Listen, boy. There was a huff of a breath in Seth's head. Is there an on to move to, even? I've been looking for your grandmother, but she disappeared, Seth said, when I was 13. Some ghosts do, after a while. Some never even show up. Some stick around for a long time, though. Where do they go, Granddad asked. The ones who disappeared. Seth sat on the arms of the couch. I don't know. They're just gone. There are never any warning signs. They just... Seth shrugged. One day they stop being ghosts. This is harder than I thought it would be. I thought I'd see my wife again. I thought that was God's promise, but she's not here. And now you're telling me you don't even know where she is. Seth shook his head. Or even if she is. Couldn't tell you. Seth heard Granddad groan. Do you know what this is like? You're the only one who sees me and hears me. The rest of them, they talk about me, right in front of me, say the ugliest things. I scream, but none of them notice me. Seth crossed his arms, his back steel rod straight. I wonder what that's like. I don't like this. I want to go back. Seth could have sworn he saw the beginnings of tears in Granddad's clouded over eyes. Ghosts couldn't cry, at least not that Seth had ever seen. There is no going back. Seth stood again. Joseph, Granddad said. Seth. Seth stopped in the arch separating the living room from the entrance hall. He was surprised at how soft his voice came out. Yes? I'm scared, Granddad said. Would you believe me if I told you I'm scared? I believe you, Seth said. Will you? I know we've never liked each other much. When I came out at 16, you called me a traitorous faggot and cut me out of your will. And that Christmas you called me an idiot, backwoods goat fucker. But before you leave for good, can we talk again? I won't bother you, but I'm very lonely right now. Seth's hands curled into fists at his side. I'll think about it. No promises, though. So, he nodded once, then rapped his knuckles on the frame of the arch. Please come back, Joseph. Please. I'll think about it, Seth snapped. I will. He walked back to the front door. But don't you dare follow me. Thank you.